Hey everyone, welcome back to Wild Colony Farms, and today we're going to be getting into a new video. And before we get into the video, please go on and click the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Let's go on and get into the video. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Wildwoods Beekeeping podcast. Thank you all for joining in tonight. And tonight I have a very fun chat planned out. I have a presentation that I will be sharing to start this thing off. But first, I'll let some people join in. Thank you all so much for joining the chat. Appreciate all your support. We have a good amount of folks in here so far, 7 people, pretty early. So we'll give people some time to join in, and then we'll get into the main part of our chat. But after the chat, I will answer questions, give y'all updates and stuff like that. Just have a very good and fun, productive chat tonight. A lot of things going on in the bee world. So thank you all again for joining. We have a good amount of folks so far, 11 people. We have Tim and Hannah. They got the first place. So congratulations, Tim and Hannah, for getting first. Toby Reader, thanks for joining in, Toby. Mary Wickenheiser, thank you for joining in tonight, Mary. Russell, good to see you, Russell. And that is about it so far. So, again, thank y'all for joining in. If y'all would, share the stream out, click the thumbs up button. I appreciate it a lot. So, as we all know, it's a very busy time of the season. Whenever I was making this presentation, PowerPoint type thing, I was going to just call it April beekeeping tips, but then I look at the calendar and I see we're about to already be in May. So if I'm going to be talking about April tips, it's already about to be in May. So what's really the point? So that's why on your screen, the thumbnail and on the title, you see April/May tips, because pretty much these tips will kind of go throughout April, May. A lot of things should have already been done, by the way, but these are things that can still be done now. And these are not really tips that, I would force on anybody, because I believe that everybody should keep their bees the way they want to. So that's my belief. So y'all don't have to listen to the tips. It's just some things I'm going to share that I feel that are beneficial for us beekeepers to do. But just know that you're not forced to do it, because everybody has the right to keep the bees the way they want to. So that's kind of what we're going to do tonight. I guess we'll go on and real quick get into this. I want to make sure not to press any wrong buttons. Oh, that's right. I'm going to have to share the thing out first. Let's see if you can see that. There we go. There we go. I want to make sure I'm not messing this up. I think that's right. Okay. This thing's kind of weird the way this thing works. I don't want to do that. Okay. This thing won't move. Here we go. Just don't want to get anything wrong here. All right, there we go. There we go. Okay, all right, so this is some April/May beekeeping tips. Like I just said, everybody has a different climate, a different a different situation, so not all of these tips will work for you. I just want to share some things that have worked for me and maybe will help you. Every beekeeper should keep their bees the way they want, and also a lot of things should have already been done before spring. But these tips, of course, that I'm going to share with you stand for all of the spring season, and that means now as well. So it is April 21st. Beekeepers are busy. I am busy. I'm making splits. I'm trying to grow the bee yard. I actually put on some supers. So the first thing that you really want to be doing right now in this busy season will be inspecting your colonies. And you don't want to be getting into your colonies every day or every other day or anything like that. But you should try to get in your colonies as often as you possibly can. Just don't overdo it. You should inspect your hives often in April because this is one of the most critical and fast moving times of the entire beekeeping year. Now, what I mean by April, I mean April/May, same thing, the spring season. The colony is rapidly building up population. The queen is laying at full speed. Nectar and pollen sources are increasing. By the way, our privet is in full bloom, and bees are bringing in a lot of privet and nectar. Hopefully, we might get some honey. We'll see. And the bees are switching from survival mode to growth and reproduction. Because so much is changing week to week or even day to day, frequent inspections are essential to stay ahead of the potential issues that could spiral out of control if left unchecked. One of the biggest reasons really to inspect your colony, your hives, if you have multiple hives or even just 100. Now, if you get into commercial stage, it's really hard to check your colonies, every week or 2 weeks. It can be tough whenever you're at that level. But if, even then, you want to inspect your bees probably every 1 to 2 weeks. And especially in the busy time of the season, it's also good to do it 7 to 10 days. Since if you do it 2 weeks and you missed your last inspection, some swarm cells, and then you go back next time, they're gonna already be swarmed on you. So that's why you got to inspect as often as you can. Just don't overdo it because that's not being intentional with what you're doing. But as colonies grow rapidly in the spring season, they can easily become overcrowded. A whole bunch of mine are becoming overcrowded as we speak. I had to add supers and boxes. When this happens, the bees may decide if it's time to reproduce by swarming. Half the bees leave with the old queen to start a new colony, and the remaining bees raise a new queen. This is natural behavior, but for a beekeeper, it often means losing amount of bees and some honey production and overall colony productivity. But let me mention that the same thing, losing the being able to make honey can be the same for making splits because you're decreasing the chances to make honey. Last year, I was actually able to make a good amount of honey with nukes. So just know that if you're going to split the way I split, you're probably not going to get a big honey harvest. But there are some ways to do that, like the Damari method and some other things. We won't really be talking about that today. But there's some things that you can do to try to split, try to keep your bees from swarming, but still get a good crop. That's the Damari method. By inspecting regularly, you can watch for the early warning signs of swarming. Queen cups turning into queen cells, large amount of drone brood, and the brood nest getting backfilled with nectar, which restricts the queen's laying space. If you're catching these signs early, you can take some early action, like making a split, reversing boxes, or adding space with supers or another box to reduce swarm pressure. Now, let me also mention, even if you add boxes whenever your bees are getting ready to swarm, a lot of times those bees will swarm anyway because they're getting into that mode to swarm. So you really, even though you add space, whenever they're really on the edge of swarming, they're already kind of in that phase that we're going to swarm really no matter what. So at that point, you got to split. But way early, it's good to add space so you can kind of prolong that process. So then you can have a little bit more time to split. That's kind of what I did. I built my colonies up big to do some splits, and they're doing okay. We'll talk about that later. Frequent spring inspections also help you keep a close eye on the queen's performance. Not all queens overwinter well. Some may be underperforming, poorly mated, or even dead without the bees being able to raise a good replacement. If you're only inspecting once a month, you're not inspecting regularly, you can miss some of the signs of a queenless or struggling colony, and by the time you catch it, they might already have laying workers or be too weak to save. So just make sure you inspect your bees 7 to 10 days, somewhere around that mark. I'm not going to tell you exactly when you need to inspect. Just make sure you're watching for these signs, pretty much, basically. So I think y'all can get the method. What I'm trying to say. Just make sure to inspect your colonies as regularly as you can to prevent some swarming, stuff like that. Now we're in another thing that a lot of beekeepers do, and I've done it too. I haven't done any. I haven't equalized yet, but I want to do some this year. Is equalize colonies. Balancing strong and weak hives, brood bees, and resources. You can also boost struggling colonies with cap brood from booming ones. This really helps equalize your colonies, and that's one thing that I really made emphasis. I'm eating my words. Sorry. That's one thing that I've made a big priority for me is to keep my hives level, and equalizing your colonies can do that. And if you have struggling smaller colonies that need a boost, you can just take a bigger colony and take a couple frames of brood that they can spare, put it in your little smaller hive, and be able to effectively equalize your colonies. Because equalizing hives in April is one of the most strategic moves you can make as a beekeeper to set your colonies up for a successful season. April and May in most regions, especially in the southeast and warmer climates like myself in Alabama, is when colonies are shifting into full gear. Queens are laying heavily, populations are surging, and nectar sources are increasing. And the potential for both explosive growth and swarm risk is high. But not every hive comes out of winter at the same pace. That's where equalization becomes essential. Because basically what you can do, like I just kind of mentioned, is let's say one of your colonies comes out of winter not really getting going. They're not on that roll yet that you want them to. And you have this other colony that's just uh, booming out of the seams, and you can't really control them. So if you have this booming colony and this little smaller colony, you can kind of get the idea what you're going to do. You're going to try to equalize both of them, and you're going to try to take some brood, maybe some honey, and put in that little smaller colony to equalize effectively. Really important. Kind of talked about this just a second ago, but preventing swarms, which is something that it's really big this time of the year. If y'all haven't seen my videos recently, like pretty much my last 3 videos have been basically me either catching a swarm or splitting to prevent swarms. That's pretty much what it's been lately, because things have been really going wild here. So I'll give y'all some updates very soon. And also, for y'all know, before we continue, I don't see the comment section right here. I don't see all that stuff. So if I'm not responding to comments, I apologize. I don't see it on my side. So if you want me to respond to a comment, whether it be a question or a topic, please do that in all caps. And then I will go back and start each one and then answer those questions. And please, I don't know how many people are on here, but if y'all would, please share the live stream out. Click the thumbs up button. It would help me out a lot. Wow, it's already 7:12. We've been going for 13 minutes. This is only like the third slide, so this thing's kind of taking a little bit, but it's good. We got ourselves a good little presentation here. So watch for queen cells, backfilling of brood nest, and congestion. Consider splitting strong colonies or adding more space supers. Like I said before, even if you do add that space, those extra supers, a lot of times colonies are already going to be in that phase of swarming, and your really only bet is going to be splitting or doing a Damari split, which will help. I'm not really a big professional on the Damari. Most of y'all kind of know what the Damari is. I got to do a little more research on that and do presentation on that. I've never really done a Damari. I just stick to these type of splits because I kind of want to expand this year. But if you're in a spot where you want more honey rather than splitting to grow, the Damari method would be good for you. So preventing swarms in April and throughout the bee spring, the season, is one of the most important tasks for a beekeeper can focus on, because swarming has both immediate and long-term consequences for colony productivity. Mainly, probably most likely, the only thing here would be the honey harvest. If you really want a honey harvest, that's whenever really preventing swarms can be big. And like I said earlier, I've already mentioned it before, is that if you really want to get honey, the best bet would be the Damari method, especially in northern climates. But let me mention also that even this time of the year, I could have a nuke, and those nukes could get some honey this year. I had that happen last year. Remember, if y'all remember correctly, I got 6 nukes. Like half of those made a good amount of honey, but most of the honey came from the overwintered colony. So the Damari method would be good for that scenario. But if you really don't care of what you're doing, if you just want to expand like I'm doing, that's what I would do. I just do some splits. We're going to talk about how making splits later. But preventing swarms is important if you want to prevent swarming, which we all want to. We don't want to lose bees. But let me also say that if you lose a swarm, if you're not able to prevent that swarm, don't put yourself down about it, because everybody makes a mistake. Everybody misses something, because we're not perfect or anything. So don't beat yourself down if you miss a swarm cell or if they swarm on you, because let me tell you, I've had many hives swarm on me because I wasn't in there checking as often as I should be. This year I'm kind of doing it different. I'm trying to check as much as I can, but I'm also don't want to overdo it. The last 2 colonies I split, I got there right in time, the perfect time I could get in those hives to do the splits. Swarm control methods would be number 1, regular inspections. We already talked about that. Providing some space. Remember that even though you had space, sometimes they can continue to swarm because they're already in that phase. But if you do that early, that will help as well, giving them some space. Artificial swarm splits. Beekeepers can perform an artificial swarm by creating a split in the colony before they naturally swarm. This involves dividing the colony in 2 separate halves, each with its own queen. So you'll take the queen away along with 5 frames of bees. We'll talk about kind of what I do later. And then the mother colony that stands there, they'll raise some cells, or they'll already have those cells in there, the swarm cells, and they'll make themselves a queen. If you have a double deep, you probably want to split them 4 ways, or they'll probably, because if you do it down the middle, if you have a booming colony and double deep and you split it down the middle, that colony is not going to last long until they want to swarm again. So if you're wanting to last longer without splitting, do 4 5-frame splits if you have a double deep. But if you have a single, 5 frames still. So yep, swarm control methods. Let's see here. Providing, that's about it. That's pretty much the main control methods that you can do to prevent swarms. Already gone for 18 minutes. So if y'all don't know, I want to pause it here for just a quick second. If y'all missed me, if y'all just checking in, I can't see the comments. So if y'all have a question, make sure to put it in all caps, and I'll star that later. Feel free to put questions in there, whether it be about this topic or some other topic, or a question that you want to ask me about updates from the colonies. I'm happy to answer those. Actually would love for you guys to put some questions in there, because I love answering questions. It's always fun. Honey-bound hives. I'm sure a lot of y'all experience the bees unpacking the brood nest full of honey, and the queen doesn't have anywhere to lay. That can also be a something that will kind of get the bees to start to get in that swarm phase, is if the queen doesn't have enough room. If they're backfilling it with honey or a lot of pollen. I've had this problem happen before. A lot of times the bees can and will work it out themselves, and they will do that. They do that in the wild, and I've seen them do it before, because one time I came out of winter and pretty much it was a single deep, and pretty much everything except for 3 frames of the brood, was full of honey, and it seemed like they weren't going to be able to expand because they had so much honey. But then 1 week later, pretty much all of the colony was brood, and then they kind of moved all the honey away. I really don't know what they did there, but sometimes they'll naturally do it. But if it's really, really bad, a lot of times you're going to have to go in there and fix it yourself. As pull nectar frames and add drawn comb. That's the biggest thing that I do, is if you have, in the brood nest, a lot of nectar, a lot of honey, you can take a lot of those frames out, and you know what you can do? You can put those frames into another colony that needs it. So if you have a small colony that needs some nectar, put some of this nectar that's in that honey-bound hive into that smaller colony, or even a big colony that doesn't have a lot of honey. and keep your queen laying and your hive growing strong. And open the brood nest. So those are some simple fixes to honeybound hives. Sometimes I'll see them, fix it themselves, but sometimes it can be pretty bad, especially whenever it's booming and things are really going good for the bees. They'll backfill that brood nest with nectar. Another thing for honeybound hives would be before the nectar flow would come in, probably be add some supers on top, multiple to prevent that. They'll add it up top. Sometimes they still will. If there's a whole bunch of nectar coming in the hive, they might fill everything up with nectar. Sometimes I don't really see that happen. Occasionally, feed if necessary. If the nectar flow isn't flowing yet, feed 1-to-1 sugar water, sugar syrup, and sometimes I even do thinner syrup. Sometimes I'll do let's see here, like 1 cup. Actually, excuse me, 3 cups water to 1 cup sugar, but equivalent to a 1 gallon bucket, because I use 1 gallon bucket feeders to feed my bees. Spring is that time where, especially early spring, is whenever you need to feed. Most of us down here in Alabama are not feeding right now. So most people are not feeding right now because the flow is already on. I can't speak for the northern folks up there in, like, let's say Ohio and some of those northern states in the U.S. and Canada. I can't really say for them if they have a flow yet. I'm pretty sure they're getting close to one, but they might not. So this time of year, they might still be feeding. I can't really say. Let me know if you're a northern beekeeper and you are up north. Let me know. Do you have a flow yet? Are things going yet? Or are you feeding? Kind of what are you doing? I'm kind of curious. Use pollen patties or dry pollen if natural sources lag behind brood expansion. So feeding is, if necessary, if you don't have a nectar flow. Most folks do. I do, and I'm not feeding anymore. I stopped feeding a while back because we had red buds coming in, had a whole bunch of other things coming in. I will say also that, my colonies, especially the small one, if y'all remember, I had a smaller colony that came out with a winter with 3 frames of bees. Those bees are starting to expand pretty good. I already added super. They're starting to get going. This privet flow is really, I can really see some things going on in the bee yard. This privet flow is affecting these bees growing. Do need to start feeding. I do need to start doing some treatments. I did get some Apivar, so if y'all are curious, here's Apivar. I'm gonna treat with Apivar this year. Oh, let me get that real quick. Temporary pause. Work to be intentional. I've talked about this a lot. Like I was kind of saying earlier, you want to inspect your colonies regularly, but you also don't want to be unintentional. That's really something that you don't want to do. Don't go in there too much. Work to be intentional. And you know what? I'm not perfect at it. I'm not the perfect beekeeper. Neither are you. If you're watching this and you see all this stuff on here, I'm not saying that you have to do that, or like it says, work to be intentional, because work to get to that point, because it's gonna be hard to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not the best beekeeper out there. Whole bunch of beekeepers out there that are better than me, but I try my best to do as good as I can. In working to be intentional. I'm not perfect at that. I'm also not perfect at being proactive. I just try my best. So just work to be intentional. In intentions out in the bee yard to do something, and sometimes it can be really hard because you just want to go out there and just look at the bees, and I can understand you there. Just going out there and doing nothing and sitting down, that's perfectly fine. If you're just going to sit down out there and just think, because a lot of times what I'll do without bothering the bees, if I really have an eager to go out to the bee yard and do something, a lot of times I'll just go out there and walk around or sit down and just watch the bees work, without bothering them and being unintentional out there. I can just sit down, and a lot of times we call that the thinking chair. You can just sit down, think about things. Here's what I'll do. A lot of times I'm thinking about what I'm going to be doing with these bees. Even though I'm not in the hive doing something, we have eager to go out there and do something because, we're beekeepers and we have an obsession with bees. I do. I think most of beekeepers on here do too. But that's what I'll do is, sit down, think, think of what I'm going to do. Basically, plans, how I'm going to work things. That's kind of how I come up with plans that I want to do. So hey, that's the idea for you. If you are struggling to keep out of your colonies, if you really have an eager to get out there, just go out there. Just don't bother them if unneeded. But if they do need to be checked, check them. But if you already checked them the other day and you know they're good, just sit down out in the bee yard sometime. Just think about things that you need to do for your next inspection. That's kind of what I do. But anyway, let's keep on rolling down here. We're already kind of 24 minutes, and I still have a whole bunch of slides here. I might not be able to cover everything, but I might. This is a really good presentation. I'm actually kind of happy how this is starting to turn out. Hope you all enjoying. Please click the thumbs up button if you're enjoying. Share out to YouTube, Facebook, anything, because I want this thing right here to be beneficial for beekeepers who have a lot of colonies and have a lot of experience, but also some newer beekeepers. So if you would share it out with your bee club, I would really greatly appreciate if you could do that. You're not forced to do it, just asking. I would very much appreciate it. Not really to help me, but for me, honestly, I just want to kind of try to help beekeepers in any way I can. I don't want to tell them exactly what they should do. I'm just telling them what are some things to keep in mind. Have an open mind, because lately in my videos, if y'all can kind of see in my videos, I really haven't been doing how-to videos. This is actually pretty much the first time for a while that I've done like a tip video live stream. I enjoy them. But the reaction between both is something that I can notice, because I can notice that these, the videos where I'm just showing people what I'm doing have a little bit more of effect of kind of how-to stuff, because there's a whole bunch of how-to stuff on YouTube. You can search up April tips and you'll find a whole bunch of stuff on there, in beekeeping. I just kind of like to share what I do, and this is a lot of stuff that I do. So hey, there's that. Let's continue on the road here. Be ready for expansion. And this was one thing that I did before I got into the season. I told myself these colonies are going to get big. I got to be ready. Have extra equipment ready. Now that's one thing I probably messed up on. I really didn't expect to be in this situation where I have potentially 11 colonies. I have actually 5 hives that have mated queens. I have a whole bunch of updates to let y'all in on. We'll get to that later. So 5 colonies that have queen, and then 6 that don't. Of course, not all of them are going to get back. I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch, but hopefully, cross my fingers that they'll come back mated. Also, by the way, before we go, I hope you all had a great Easter. I forgot to mention that earlier. I hope you all had a great Easter. I did. Hope you had a good time with family, friends, a good Easter Sunday. I hope you did. Happy Easter to everybody. Late Easter. Yesterday was Easter. I actually did recorded the video yesterday. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling on. Hope y'all don't mind. Boxes, frames, tops, bottoms. I probably just need to build 3 or either buy just 3 bottom boards and 3 top covers. I have all the frames. I have all the boxes. Just top covers and bottom boards is the only thing I'm kind of I have a shortage on. So just be ready for expansion. Proactive is kind of how I'd call it. Be proactive. Know that your colonies will get big with nectar flows coming in. They'll get strong. Be ready to split. Have a plan for what you're going to do. If you're going to split. If you don't want to split and not be able to get a honey crop, then like I've been mentioning kind of multiple times, the Damari method. So just, have some equipment ready, boxes, frame, tops, bottoms, and stuff like that. Get ready and just be proactive with what you're doing. Apiary planning. Now, I'm going to say this. Apiary planning probably should have been done already. But if you're kind of late to the game, then apiary planning consists of tracking each colony's progress, brood patterns, queen age, and swarming signs. Map your bloom schedule. This thing's kind of small, so I don't have to really look deep at it. Know what's coming next in your area, and make nukes if you want to raise queens or sell bees later in the season. Just have a plan for your apiary of what you want to do. If you want to expand, or if you want to grow, or if you want to just make honey and sell, or if you want to raise queens, do some queen rearing, have that all in mind. That's why I was saying that if you have an eager to get into the bee yard, like I sometimes do, just go out into the bee yard, sit down in your thinking chair, think about what you want to do in your bee yard, kind of what your plans are, and then you're kind of in a peaceful place around your bees, and you're gonna be able to think of what you need to do. 30 minutes so far already into this chat. Watching the weather, especially in the south, is really important. Is one thing you need to be flexible with inspections. Don't open hives during cold snaps or winter storms. We don't really have to worry about cold snaps now. Not I can't really speak for those folks up there in the northern spots, northern states and Canada. I can't speak for them. Use insulation and shims or moisture boards in April if nights are still cool in your area. Everything depends on area, folks. It really does depend on your climate, your area, what's going on in your neck of the woods. It's really what it depends on. And watch for late freezes. We don't got to worry about that, but some folks do. Actually, I think in 2023 we had a cold snap around this time. Now down here in Alabama, we get a lot of occasional, actually pretty often storms, thunderstorms, and stuff like that. So I have to be flexible with inspections. So if I can't say for sure in my head that I'm going to inspect these colonies on the specific day, because it could end up raining on that day. That's why whenever I have plans, I look at that forecast and look for rain or anything like that. Now, this is actually, if on the picture you can see that's my forecast. A lot of times I'll share my week to week weather thing, and a thing that says today was 84 degrees. Wow, it's supposed to be warm, all in the 80s this week. Look at that, it's gonna be nice. But only thing is, all week, look at that, folks. I was just saying, scattered thunderstorms. Look at all that. We've got some scattered thunderstorms pretty much all week until Friday. So this week might not be the best week to inspect bees, which I already did that this weekend, and everybody's going good. Honey flow prep. Getting ready for that honey flow. I actually did a video getting ready for the honey flow. The honey flow. If you're a beekeeper, especially in warmer climates like south like the southeast, Alabama, April is your launch pad. Everything your bees are doing, building brood, foraging, drawing comb, is gearing up for one of the most exciting and productive times of the year, the honey flow. And if you want to make the most of it, preparation is everything. So what exactly is the honey flow? It's that magical time when nectar is abundant, when there's a lot of nectar around. Your flows are getting going, and your bees are booming. And whenever nectar comes into colony, that's whenever your queens really start to get laying, and pollen. When pollen comes in and nectar comes in, your queens can get laying. That's why you got to prep for the honey flow, because whenever that honey flow hits, that's whenever they're going to start getting ready to pack some honey. You need to have honey supers on. Make sure you're watching for swarm signs and much more. Oh, frame manipulation. One of my favorite things that I usually do. So let's kind of talk about this for a quick second. For beginners, if you're a beginner on here, welcome. Please subscribe. Click the thumbs up button. Great to have you. Frame manipulation might sound technical, but it's really just a term for moving frames around within the hive to guide and support the colony development. And in April, doing this well can help you prevent swarms, promote growth, and improve brood patterns, and boost honey production, and more. The key is to understand why you're doing it and how to do it safely and effectively. Let's start out with number one, which is checkerboarding. This is one of the most proactive frame manipulation strategies you can use in spring. Checkerboarding involves alternating frames of capped honey and empty drawn comb above the brood nest, typically in the top box of a double deep hive. This encourages the bees to move upward and store nectar in the right place, not in the brood nest, while also reducing the sense of overcrowding that can lead to swarming. Number two, opening the brood nest. That might sound kind of risky, but when done carefully and under the right conditions, it's one of the best ways to manage space and prevent swarming. Opening the brood nest means placing one or two empty drawn frames or very light combs directly in the brood area between frames of brood. I do this a lot, and you guys see me do it a lot. And the reason why I do it is to grow the colony, because if sometimes they're getting kind of slow, they're building up, they're still strong and they're healthy, but they're just slowly, they're not really building out So first I'm drawing comb, what I'll do is I'll kind of move them here, and I'll put one frame right here, close it, put it another one there. Hope I can explain it right. I think I have a thing on frame manipulation, a video you can see. That's kind of what I do. So those are the main ways for frame manipulation that you can do. I do it a lot. Small hive beetle defense tips. Most of y'all know these little guys. They're always in the colonies. They annoy you. They annoy me. So keeping strong colonies is one thing. Weak colonies attract more small hive beetles. Use beetle traps, beetle blasters, oil traps, microfiber cloths. You can also use grub X for the ground to kill a larva and stuff to stop them before they even turn into a little hive beetle. You can also use peppermint, which a lot of people use. That works. I think it works as well. That kind of lures them out of the colony. Tried it before. I can't remember if it worked or not. I think it kind of did. Kind of didn't. I can't really remember. Next thing here. What you should do versus what you should not do. So, what you should do is inspect every 7 to 10 days. Open hives every. Excuse me. Let me go to this in just one line. And so the things you should do is inspect every 7 to 10 days. Feed new splits. Kill bad queens early and add supers early. And what you should not do is open hives every day. That's really overdoing it. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, feeding strong colonies with nectar coming in. You don't need to do that either, because if nectar's coming in, why are you feeding that colony? Because they have a whole bunch of nectar coming in. You got to feed those little smaller colonies in your splits. You should not wait till the queen improves if the queen is not performing well. And also shouldn't wait until they're backfilling the brood nest area, or that will turn into honey-bound colonies, as we talked before, and the queen won't have anywhere to lay. Using dead outs wisely. So if you come out of winter with some dead outs, may seem it's always not good to have a hive die, but the positive thing that you can take from a dead out is being able to salvage drawn comb, reuse boxes, so those boxes and equipment. Use the leftover honey frames to boost nukes or weak colonies. I use drawn comb all the time. Just be careful for too old comb. You don't want too old comb in there, but as long as you don't have any history, with some diseases and stuff, you should be good to go. I use drawn comb all the time, and that's how I use my dead out. So if I had a dead out over winter where they just too small, couldn't make it, I used a lot of those drawn comb so far for expanding, and it works great. It's awesome whenever you can use drawn comb. Dead outs are not awesome. They're not good. But after you find that they are not alive and they didn't make it through winter, you're able to use those dead outs wisely instead of just throwing everything away, right? Set out swarm traps. By May, swarm traps should be active and baited. Use old comb plus a few droplets of lemongrass oil or some type of swarm lure. Place 4 to 8 feet high near tree lines or apiary outskirts. Don't place too high. You don't got to place it too high. I did that mistake. My first swarm trap, I set it way too high. It's like, I don't know. Actually, it's probably more than 10 foot high. It's like 12 feet, I think is what it is. I can't remember, but it's really high. You have to climb up kind of high on a ladder to get it. So I plan to try to lower that down in the future. Actually, I probably ain't going to be able to lower it down because I remember that though whenever I screwed it in, a lot of those screws got stuck in there, so it's not going to be a good way to remove it. So it's just that little stand's going to have to stay there. It's just going to be hard to get them whenever I'm getting ready to do that. Make sure to set out those swarm traps if you want to catch free bees. So let me kind of talk quickly about how I set my traps. The way I do them is the way Philip at RTX Honeybees. So I have no idea if Philip's in the chat. He might be. I actually have no idea what y'all are saying there. This thing has gone on for 38 minutes, and I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea how many people are in here, anything. So sometimes I have fun not knowing some of that stuff. Just chatting, looking at this. But I'll look at that later, see kind of what we got in there if we have any questions. Philip, I used his method. He actually put in the comment section of my video the way I probably should do it. And I did that method. Basically, what you do is double nuke, bottom empty, top 4 frames of empty frames, no comb, no foundation, nothing. Then the top comb is going to be drawn comb. I set out one early, the first one, which is way up high. That one hasn't caught anything yet, but the second one, I sit out there, as you can see in the picture there, that's the second one. That one right there, set out, I can't remember exactly when, but 1 week later, caught myself a swarm, my first swarm in a swarm trap. So I appreciate Philip's idea, because it works. I can guarantee you that, because it seemed like 1 week later, a swarm moved in. Plan to set out a whole bunch more very, very soon. I only have one out right now. I need to set it back out. Ventilation. Slightly propping the top cover using screen bottom boards, removing entrance reducers, unless small hive beetle / robbing is a concern. Not going to spend too much time on some of these. Pretty basic and explanatory. Ventilation is important in spring, April, May, even into June and July, and some of the hot months of the year. All right, beginner beekeeper tips. This is where some of the beginner stuff is come in. Even if you're an experienced beekeeper, hey, it might help you out some way. Number 1, install your bees, package your nuke. Number 2, as it warms up and the bees expand onto 7 frames, give them more room, whether it be a super or a double deep if you're running double deep stories, or if you just like keeping them in a single, add a super. Treat for mites and add supers. Now remember, it's personal preference of what you do, so you can or you don't have to treat for mites. It's your opinion. If you're a beginner beekeeper, I would recommend to probably start out basic, whether it be with Apigard or maybe Apigard or something like that, just to get started with treating. But it's your opinion and your preference to do whatever you want to do. Educate yourself. So if you're a beekeeper, a new beekeeper, before you get bees, make sure to read up on some books. Here's one book that I use all the time. I read through it sometimes, not all the time. The Beekeeper's Bible. So if you're a new beekeeper, this is a good book. There's some other good books. I can't name them all. A whole bunch of good books out there that you can use. But the Beekeeper's Bible have a whole bunch of stuff in there, and a lot of times I'll use that for my presentations to make sure everything I put in there is right. I'm pretty sure it is, because I've been keeping bees for a good amount of time, but sometimes I do get things wrong. We're all human. So I get in that Beekeeper's Bible, and I check that to make sure I'm right on my stuff. And sometimes I am, sometimes I might be a little off. But anyway, make sure to educate yourself before you get bees. You can get a book. You can watch YouTube. Just be careful what you take on YouTube, because there's so many good beekeepers out there, so many good people out here in this beekeeping community. But just sometimes there might be info out there that might not work for your scenario. So let's say you're up north. If y'all are up north, a lot of things that I say are for my area. You can still take some things, of course, but you just gotta put that into your timeline of your seasons. I have no idea how your seasons work. I just kind of know how mine works. But so just be careful of what you see on there. Just because somebody says exactly how you should do it doesn't mean you should take every ounce of that away and put it into your apiary, because you got to consider the climates and stuff like that. Join a beekeeping association is also a big thing that you can do if you're a new beekeeper. You can get into a beekeeping association, clubs, some different conferences to learn about bees in person, talking with beekeepers, connecting with the beekeeping community. That's a big thing that you can do. I want to go to some beekeeping associations. Even though I'm not a beginner beekeeper, it's good for everybody. Everybody loves to talk about bees and that stuff. So yep, you have a whole bunch of conferences that you go to, like the North American Honeybee Expo, a whole bunch of others. Thought there was one in Alabama too. I think there's one in Alabama. I think, but yeah, join a beekeeping association if you're a beginner. Pretty big thing that you can do. We'll probably help you out a lot. Would help you out a lot. Inspection timing. Inspect mid-morning to early afternoon. Most foragers are out. Avoid cloudy, windy days, especially May storms in the southeast and some of the middle of the United States as well. Too much disturbance equals angry bees and maybe a queen injury. So just make sure you don't get in there too often, but enough to prevent swarming and everything else you need to do. Installing a nuke. So number 1, you want to choose your location. Number 1, you need to choose a location. Select a suitable location for your nucleus hive. It should be sheltered from extreme weather conditions and have good access for both the bees and the beekeeper. Number 2, prepare the site. Number 3, you should assemble your hive equipment. And number 4, transport the nuke. If you purchase from a beekeeping company or a supplier, transport it carefully to your apiary. Then you want to open your nuke hive, gently remove any straps or coverings from the nuke. Inspect the frames, make sure everything's good, make sure the queens look good, make sure um, everything looks fine in your nuke. Prepare the new hive. So setting up the hive, the bottom board, a box, 5 frames of foundation / drawn comb if you have it. If you have foundation, just put that on the edge. 5 open spots in the middle to put those 5 frames in the middle. Then that's whenever you transfer your frames. Then number 9, you will secure the hive. Since once all the frames have been transferred, carefully close the hive, ensuring the frames are properly spaced and the inner and outer cover are in place. Provide water and food, and ensure that bees have access to fresh water and food sources, especially if there isn't much forage available in the immediate area, in your area, your climate, and monitor the hive. So that's how you install a nuke. Now, installing a package. So same thing, choose a location, get a good, suitable location for your hive. And to prepare the hive, you want to ensure that your hive equipment is ready. This will include the bottom board, hive body with frames and foundation, inner cover, outer cover, entrance reducers. Make sure the frames are installed in the hive body. Prepare the feeder, because whenever you get a new package, you're going to want to feed those bees because they probably haven't been fed. If they'll have that little feed there on top, good chance that it's kind of getting close to being empty. So make sure to feed your bees, because those bees are new. They'll be most likely be on nothing but foundation if you're a new beekeeper. So make sure you feed your bees so they'll start drawing that out and get the queen laying as quick as possible. Preparing the package. Before installing a bee, spray the screen of the package with a light mist of water to calm the bees. This will make them less likely to fly around aggressively. Most times they won't. Most times packages are nice and calm. Sometimes they can't be, but most times, 8 out of 10 times, they'll be nice and docile. Just, you want to put that on there anyway, just in case. Install the package, remove the can of syrup, if included. Most packages include one from the package. Then carefully remove the queen cage from the package. Inspect the queen to ensure she is alive and healthy. Hang the queen cage between the 2 frames in the hive, ensuring the screen is facing outwards. I think the timelines are wrong. Excuse me. So before you actually, if I read this wrong, sorry, no. Let me redo that. So I think I worded this wrong. So number 5, what you should do is put your queen aside. You don't need her yet. What you're going to do is you're going to want to have 5 frames space in the middle. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to shake those bees in that box. You want to put your frames back in there, open that space, put your queen right in the middle. That's kind of how you want to do it. Feed the bees, because that's going to be a new package, and you're going to want to feed them. Splits made simple. Walkaway split. Equalize brood, bees, and resources. Leave one half queenless. The other half will raise their own. New creation. Take 2 to 3 frames of brood and bees. Add a queen or queen cell and feed them until they're established. Now that's splits made simple. You can look at that, and it's pretty simple. But let me explain my way of doing so. And my way of doing splits is simple. 5-frame splits, 3 frames of brood, 2 frames of honey, and a queen cell. So around swarm time. That's pretty much how I make them. That's pretty much all there is to it. Feed if necessary. If there's a flow going on, actually, I'm not really feeding my nukes right now because we've got a good flow going on. And they're bringing in nectar as we speak. So I'm not feeding them right at this moment. But if you do not have a nectar flow, make sure to feed them. And plus, they do have some honey in there already that I put in there. There's a good amount of nectar I put in each one. All right, last slide, and we're done. Keep yourself informed. Maintaining a continuous commitment to education and beekeeping is paramount, as it positions you at the forefront of knowledge acquisition, empowering you with insights into cutting-edge research, best practices, and evolving industry trends. So keep yourself informed. It's really important, whether it be by books or on YouTube or any other places. Thank y'all for joining the presentation. Let's see if I can get this all going now. Got 15 folks on here. Let me open this all the way so I can see a little bit better. Now, we got a good amount of comments. Now let me go through here and see if I can see anything. Okay, I see one. Hey, Jessica. Thanks for checking in. James, good to see you, Mr. James. Ronnie Rowland. Tim and Hannah. Going through. Randy. Thanks for checking in, Randy. Oh, Steve. Daisy's Honey. Steve, New York. Thanks for the $10 donation sticker. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Make sure y'all share the stream out. Make sure to click that thumbs up button. Have we really been going on for 50 minutes? It seems like it's been a little shorter, but hey. Steve. Oh, Larimore, Mr. Key from Larimore Farms. Oh, Bruce. Good to see you, Bruce. Bruce's Bees down here in southeastern Alabama. Eggstead Gardens. Good to see you. I haven't really been able to look at the comments. So that's why I'm seeing some of you guys. I'm just trying to star some. Tom and Melissa from Via Honeybees. Good evening, Tom and Melissa. Stone River Bees. Good evening, Stone River Bees. All right, good to see y'all. Thank y'all for checking in tonight. I'll continue going on for a little bit longer. If y'all would, please go and click that thumbs up button on your way in. Would greatly appreciate it. So I guess a couple things I did want to real quick mention is that I do have a email newsletter. I'll get to the questions in a second. There are some questions I need to answer. But if y'all have not heard of this newsletter, if y'all haven't heard of it, I would appreciate if after the chat or even now, if you check that out and subscribe. Because what I'll do is I just kind of post some things, updates of what I'm doing and stuff like that. Basic things that you'd expect me to do. So let me put this link right in there. So if you would like to subscribe, I'd appreciate it. It's an email newsletter. I won't spam your email. I usually just do once a week for my live streams, and that's about it. So those were the April, May tips. We got 19 folks on here. Feeders inside my house. Grace, hey Toby, good to see you. Grayson, how are your bees building up? And the bees are building up very, very good. I'm really liking the growth of the colonies because they're really looking good. I'm really happy with the way they're expanding. They're so like there's the small colonies that I was mentioning in the presentation, like 3 frames of brood, and they're looking, and they came out with 3 frames of bees, and now here they are. They're like on like 7 to 8 frames, and they're starting to build out. So looking very nice. Our privet flows already in, and they're starting to build up. Building up very, very nice. Tim and Hannah. Grayson, check out the 1880s American Bee Journal. Read about the Mari himself. Pretty interesting why he developed the method for his skills in beekeeping. I will check that out. I've heard about that. Let me put that in here. I gotta remember that. Because if I don't, then I'm gonna forget it. I can always come back in here later. So check out the 1880s American Bee Journal. If I don't do this, then I'll forget. I don't want the autocorrect. There we go. 1880. 80s. Okay, there we go. I'll check that out. I think that's going to be pretty interesting to look into. Exit gardeners, do you all recommend using drawn old comb for new packages, or let them build their own and add a few at a time? Okay, that's a really good question. I don't really have a whole bunch of experience with packages. I've used them before, but I find more efficiency with nukes, in my opinion. But packages are still good. I probably didn't do them right. I probably could do it better now since I have a little bit more experience. Still not the best or anything, but probably could do a little better. But so you could just put drawn comb in there because they'll still use it. They'll fix it up just as long as you don't have any experience with some diseases or anything. You're good to go if you just want to put all those drawn comb in there for your bees. With a package, it's 100% you're able to do that. But if you have some foundation, you can also do both if you'd like. It's just really your preference and what you want to do. Um, that you can just do whatever what your preference would be. But I would say that you'd be perfectly fine to do some drawn comb in there, let them build on that, because I find that whenever bees get on drawn comb, they will get going a little bit more faster, and they'll usually get going faster. I hear about you should focus on building the hive and not splitting. Yeah, probably. So that'd be something. That's kind of what I'm doing now. I guess I can't say that. I'm kind of I am focusing on like building up. Trying to expand. But going into the spring season, I was focusing on growing the colonies, getting them really strong. Because whenever they're strong, they're going to swarm. They're going to try to expand. So yeah, going into the season, you just focus on growing those colonies, and then everything else will come over time. Now, my last video, which was 4 splits from one colony, pretty much the same video as um, the last one that did really good. This one's doing really good. It has like 311 views. So that's doing good. So thank you all for supporting that video. Looks like it's doing fairly well. Really appreciate all the support from the fellow beekeepers. If y'all would, please go on and click the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. It would really help me out a whole bunch if you do that. Just click that thumbs up button. It's free and easy. If you have any more questions, feel free to put them in there. I'll go a touch bit longer, and then we'll get close to ending it off. Oh yeah, I was just about to forget that I do have some Tim and Hannah. See, Grayson, I'll text you on the links we have bookmarked on tomorrow. Thanks, Tim and Hannah. Please send me that through text. I got your number. Text that to me. I want to try to look at that because actually, that would be a good thing for me to study and learn about that, and then later on might try to do like a presentation on it or something. A good PowerPoint, that would be something good to kind of do. Like I was saying, some updates from here on the Wildwoods apiary is I checked one colony already, so one of our original splits, and I saw a mated queen. I saw some eggs. It looks like she really just got back in and started laying some eggs. So I have no idea how good the queen is, or if she's a decent queen or a bad queen or whatever. We're gonna have to wait and see how the brood pattern looks. So I'll let y'all know. Don't like to, think that a queen is good when I really don't know. She might not got mated well and might not be a good queen, but she might be a good queen. She should be a good queen. There's a whole bunch of drones out there right now. My hives are my bees are raising a whole bunch of drones right now, which is telling me that these colonies are really strong this time of the year. They're really strong and starting to build a whole bunch of drones. But yeah, one mated queen so far. Thank you everyone for the feedback. I've been beekeeping for 3 years, and it was a huge fail last year, so I had to start over, and it's a learning lesson. Thanks for being here, Exit Gardens. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in there. I'll tell you one thing, that the biggest thing that can be a big help for a beekeeper is not just learning from people or asking questions. That's really good too. It's awesome for you to go in here and ask questions, but one big thing for me, at least in my opinion, is really good, is having the experience. So even though you lost, a decent amount of colonies, as it seems like, you're still getting experience from that, and that's what I gained. So let's say, for instance, in my scenario, let's say I went in with 6 colonies the year prior, came out with only 1 colony. Something went wrong in that way of doing things, and I would tell y'all exactly what went wrong. And what I've been doing wrong for a while is not getting these bees built up strong enough to get through winter. So I went through that, learned that, hey, I got to get these bees strong. I got to get these bees built up. So if you're able to learn from your experiences, that's something that you can really use to your it's beneficial to us beekeepers to be able to have hands-on experience. Also good to ask questions and stuff, but whenever you have that hands-on experience, then that's whenever you don't doubt yourself more. Because a lot of times before, whenever you don't have a whole bunch of experience, you really don't know what's right or what's wrong. But if you experience it and you know that that's wrong, maybe let's not try that. Let's try something different. It's always good to try new things and see what works for you. That's something I think every beekeeper would agree on. That's always good to have that hands-on experience. Something that I always would recommend to a beekeeper. But a lot of new beekeepers out there. But it's awesome for this community. That's what I love about it. And I try to be honest on here. I try to be as honest as I can to folks. I show the good and the bad. And you guys might be saying, well, Grayson, there hasn't been anything bad this year. You haven't been showing the bad stuff. Well, it hasn't really been anything bad in the last couple of weeks for some reason. I hope it stays like that, but sometimes things can change drastically in beekeeping. But yeah, there was a queen mated in that colony. Going to check back and see how she looks later on. Stone River Bees. Grayson, new to the channel. How many hives are you currently running, and what's your goal number? Are you looking to produce honey or bees? Good question. And honestly, there's no specific goal, but I actually kind of had a set goal for, I guess around 10 colonies. And so far, I have five to 4 colonies. We'll see how the one that hasn't made a queen. We'll see how the queen looks. 5 colonies that have a queen and 6 that don't. So that equals up to 11 colonies. But I'm going to have to wait and see. Don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. We'll just have to see kind of what these bees do and how they look continuing in the future. Well, I'll keep y'all updated. So we could say 11, we could say 5, somewhere around that mark is where I'm running. And I guess my goal would be to produce bees numbers this year. But if I can, I have honey seepers on colonies right now, and if I get full up pretty quick, and our tallow hasn't even gone in yet, they can get those honey seepers can get pretty big, fulled up, and good, and then I'll do some honey production this year. Just it all really depends on how things go. Yeah, awesome question. If y'all have any more questions, feel free to put them in there. We'll get close to wrapping it up. Thank y'all for joining in. Not done just yet, but if y'all would, before if y'all are checking out at this time or in a little while, please go and click the thumbs up button. We'd really appreciate if y'all do that. If you haven't done it, please click that thumbs up button. It would help this live stream out and the channel out. Make sure to share stuff like that. I'll wait just a little bit, see if there's any more questions. Trying to make sure that I didn't miss anything. I'm gonna go. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scroll back and see what people were talking about a second ago. I'm kind of curious. Don't really want to miss anything. I still bottle my from my buckets. Do y'all all think splitting hives with first year packages is wise? Well, that honestly depends. I think I would not focus on splitting splitting a package, this year, unless if they are booming from the seams and they start making swarm cells. So here's what would be my opinion and my answer to the question. So build your bees up, build them strong, build them to the point where they're starting to get really, really big. So the bees will tell you whenever they want to swarm. So if they don't make swarm cells, I probably wouldn't split them or anything. But if they start making swarm cells, they're telling you that they want to swarm. So that's whenever you use those swarm cells and make some splits. That's what I would do if I had a first year package and I put them in there. I'd focus on building those bees up and just kind of see how they do. And if they start building swarm cells, I'll go on and split them, because a lot of times they will. Sometimes those packages will get big pretty quick. Let's see here. I'm trying to keep on going down. Good amount of good folks on here tonight. Thank you all for joining in. Sorry I missed a whole bunch of y'all's comments in the back here. I just wasn't really here to look at them. Yep. I actually was saying that. Hope you all had a great Easter with family and friends. We did had a good Easter yesterday. Hope you all did too. All right, that's about it. I don't think I missed too much there. Good evening, John. Thanks for checking in tonight. I'll probably continue to go on for a little bit. Seems like we have a good amount of folks in here, so I'll continue going just for a little bit longer. Continue putting questions in there if you have any. Finally get to catch the vibe chat for once. Evening, folks. Good to see you. Good to have you in here, John. I'll make sure to click that thumbs up on y'all's way in. If you're checking in, make sure to click it up. Click that little thumbs up, or you can, I guess you could say, sting that like too. Let's see. Are there any other updates? Actually did put a super on one of my colonies, and they are putting nectar in there. So hey, there you go. We, got some nectar in there, and they're bringing in a good amount of that privet, or Alabama privet. They're bringing a good amount of that in there on that top super. If you saw my short, then you'll kind of know what I mean. It's actually one of the recent shorts. You'll see it on there, and they're starting to bring in some of that nectar, a good amount of it too. I was pretty surprised with that amount of nectar that they're bringing in. I mean, wow. But hey, it's a good thing. I'm not sure what that's going to be used for. It could be used for harvesting, or we could just leave it for the bees. Just depends. Honestly, everything that I do really depends on what happens in my bee yard and what goes on and stuff. It's really what I kind of focus on. It just really depends. So let me. I was going to ask I don't know if anybody responded to what I was saying because I can't really see. Let's see, but let me know if y'all are up north. Are y'all's bees bringing in nectar, pollen, or anything? Are they starting to? Are your flows getting going? And let me know in the south. I know everybody down here is starting to get stuff. If I'm getting some stuff, I know most folks up there down there in Louisiana and Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, those states, most of them are experiencing some flows and stuff coming in. But if you are up north and up there, whether it be some of those northern states here in the U.S. or in Canada, let me know, kind of what's going on. If you're getting a flow, kind of curious. I'm gonna see if there's any of those in here. I'm just kind of curious. I just really don't know kind of those things. I'm just kind of used to my location and my climate. Get some water. I've been talking for a little while. Flowing in southern Louisiana. Good to hear. I saw your post, Lee. If our privet is getting going too. Seemed like privet was a touch late, but it's fine. It's getting going now. Good evening, Jack and Danette. Thanks for checking in. Wildwoods beekeeping supporter, Wildwoods beekeeping member. I think Tim and Hannah donated some of those stickers last week. So thank you, Tim and Hannah, for doing that. Really, really generous of you and very nice. Thank you for doing that. I'm sure some of the folks here also appreciate it. So if you're checking in, late or anything, you can check the presentation out, later on. The replay will be available for you if you want to watch that section again. Really good. I think it turned out great. I was just talking about some tips and tricks that you can do if you want. And it was actually kind of long, though. So just so you know, it's like a 45 the 50-minute type thing. It actually took a good amount of time to get through that whole thing because I actually really didn't think it was going to take that long. And you know what? I actually put like a lot of speaker notes in that presentation. I ended up skipping most of the presentation notes. So if I read all those presentation notes I left in there, I'd probably still be reading out this whole presentation. So I'm glad I didn't. It'd be still going on because it was a long thing. I worked over it, worked on it Thursday through Friday and a little bit today. I really enjoy it. I mean, it's really I honestly enjoy it. It's fun to do. Having a specific topic for a week, if I don't have a guest on. But next week, let's see, who's our lineup real quick. Let's look at that real quick. In my calendar. So next week, I don't know. Oh, did I not put that on there yet? I thought I already put that on there. I'll be having a beekeeping chat with Josh. I think it's Joshua Scott. Now, if y'all don't know him, you'll probably know him by the channel name. Let me go to the email real quick. I just can't remember these channel names. So, Joshua, let's go down here. I have a whole bunch of emails here. If I can find it. Joshua, Scott from Bees in the Weeds. That's right. That's what I figured it was. Josh from Bees in the Weeds. He'll be on my beekeeping chat next week at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Same time as usual. Make sure to join us there. That'll be fun with him. And then I think, let's see here, the 19th of May, we'll be getting Jed. Jed from his channel. I can't remember his channel name. Well, he has a good channel. He does a whole bunch of good stuff over there. So I'll be getting Jed on the 19th of May. So I'm also looking forward to that. So I have 2 guests lined up next week. That'll be fun. And then next week with Joshua from Bees in the Weeds. Make sure to join us in there next week. It will be very, very fun and informative and see how all the beekeepers are doing. And I have also some other beekeepers kind of that I've been emailing and discussing with for future live chats, which will also be very, very fun, and looking forward to those. My past videos have been mainly, like I said, about splits. Been busy with splits and stuff. That's been the main thing lately. Has been watching out for swarms and stuff like that. Haven't got any swarm calls, but who knows? We might get one sometime soon. But did catch a swarm and hope to catch another one. I need to set up more traps. So right now I have 1 trap set out, and I probably need to set out another trap very, very soon, whether it be on a property or another property, and have multiple locations is what I want to do. So hopefully going to try to get at least 5 more traps set out and see if we can catch us some free bees, because those free bees are the best bees that you can possibly get, in my opinion, because those are bees that are used to your location. They know your climate. If you have any more questions, feel free to put them in there. We'll get close to wrapping this thing up in just a second. I'll answer any more questions there are. Been fun tonight. Been very, very fun. Enjoyed this chat. Egg Gardens. I'm in Virginia, and I have a good bit. I got a good bit of nut, but here, I'm reading it wrong. I'm in Virginia, and I have a bit, but nothing as much as the mountains. I live in a bad area for beekeeping. The weather is great, so a lot better than last year. That's good to hear. And they are free. That's right, Keith. They are free bees, and they're bees to your climate as well. Don't have to buy them. You just get your free bees. So if y'all are curious on the swarm that I caught, they are still doing well. Very, very good. Really liking the growth of the swarm. Hoping that they'll continue to build up. The queen patterns are looking good. I checked, and there was some brood in there, some cat brood. There's also some drone brood in there as well, some drone eggs. So they're starting to build drones, which also tell me that they're a really strong, really, really strong colony. Because whenever I see these colonies that are strong, that are building up, that have drones in the hives, I know that that's a healthy colony. That's just an indicator. I'm in Colorado, and they're bringing in pollen. Lots of it is, some of it's nectar, not much yet. We got another month, so it's gonna be another month for that. So another month till your main flow. Okay, I get you out there in Colorado. So that means you folks are kind of, I guess, later, with your flows. If I'm correct, I'm really not sure some of the other northern states, but I know for sure down here we already have a whole bunch of flows, and it's game on down here. But I know some of those northern folks might not have those big flows yet. So if you are in the northern area and you're not yet getting a strong flow, and if you're still getting snow and occasional cold snaps, which I've been seeing on YouTube, then you're going to have to continue feeding your bees, kind of like we talked about in this presentation. But I think that's all of the updates that I can think of to mention. If y'all would, make sure to check out the beekeeping newsletter. Would appreciate if y'all would check that out. It's an email newsletter, so you guys can check that out, and see, because what you can do is I'll just kind of send like different things, whether it be updates for the live streams and stuff like that. Good night, Lee. Thanks for checking in tonight. Well, folks, I guess we'll get close to wrapping it up, unless I see one comment of a question come in the corner of my eye. But I'm thinking we're getting close to wrapping this up. Thank you all for joining in tonight. If y'all would, before y'all leave, please go on and click the thumbs up button. And afterwards, share this live stream out to folks you know that this could be beneficial to. If you know some beginner beekeepers who might find some interest in some of the stuff that I talked about tonight, please do feel free, and please consider to share it out. We'd appreciate it a lot. And make sure to click the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Subscribe to the new email newsletter. So while y'all are checking it out, if y'all would just come over here and subscribe to that if y'all want to. If you don't, feel free not to. Hey, Michael. I just saw you in the corner of my eye. Michael Buck. Thanks for checking in. Well, I guess we'll be checking out real quick. So if y'all would, please click the thumbs up button. I appreciate everybody who's joined in tonight. It's been fun. You can rewatch the other part if you missed it. But other than that, I guess we will catch y'all on the next beekeeping chat. Take care, everyone.